And welcome back to Broken Audible. This is Brandon Griffin. Gary is not with me tonight. He has been very sick. And so, we're asking for prayers for Gary, make sure he gets better. And, this time next week, we'll probably be out here again. He's making fun of me. We wanted to at least put something out this week. And since I really don't have anything special up my sleeve, I'm going to play a game with my audience tonight, and that is playoff predictions. Now, before I go on, let me just say this. If you go to ESPN or anybody else, they're going to have notes after notes of why this team is going to win, why this team is going to lose, and logically, I agree with them. I think they have it pretty solid on who's going to make it to the Super Bowl and who's going to win. But we're not going to play with that. We're going to play with my rules tonight, and now I'm going to go off of my gut feeling for the most part. So why don't we stick with the AFC side first? Let's start with Raiders and Houston, wild card matchup. If Houston has ever gotten a break in any wild card, this is it. The Raiders are limping into the playoffs. Look, a few weeks ago, I would have put them as heavy contenders for the title, but with their recent quarterback injuries and the way things are just going, I really don't feel like they have a chance. I think Houston comes away on top with this one. And that's really sad because I was really looking for an Oakland Raiders Patriots showdown. But maybe next time. Steelers versus Miami. I think this is going to be a dogfight. I'm really rooting for Miami. I think they're coming together at the right time. I think they're still just a tad bit too young. And just they need just 1 or 2 more years before they get really developed. The Steelers, my goodness, you're talking about Ben Roethlisberger. You're talking about Bell running back. You're talking about weapons that the Steelers have that Miami just don't. I think it's a dogfight. I think it's going to come down to the fourth quarter miracle. But I think the Steelers are going to pull it out. There's just too much there for the Steelers not to win. So then that brings us to the divisional playoffs for that week, and it'll be Houston versus the Patriots. Sorry, Houston, your day is done. Steelers versus Kansas City. Now, a lot of people have the Steelers winning that game. I don't really think so. I think the upset of the week, and it really wouldn't be an upset. Kansas City is going to win. They're going to beat the Steelers. They're going to find a way to bring that upset. If you haven't been watching Kansas City, they have a kid in there named Tyreek Hill who's running a 4.2. He has multiple touchdowns, punt return touchdowns, kickoff returns touchdowns. You have Alex Smith, quarterback, who has not the best quarterback in the world, but he knows how to handle the game. They got some solid players, and they're hungry. And I've liked watching these Kansas City Chiefs this year, so I really do think they're going to pull out all stops. Now, here's the tricky one. The Patriots versus Kansas City, AFC. Wisdom, logic, and everything else says that the Patriots have this. Brady is going to figure out a way to win. But I'm rooting personally for Kansas City. I would love to see a team that is as raw as Kansas City make it on top. I think Kansas City is going to be the team to watch for the playoffs, because if they do make it into the Super Bowl, it's going to be amazing. You're going to see things that you just don't normally see football team. But you know what? For the spirit of things, and I could be really, really wrong on this, and everybody else says I'm wrong for this, I am pulling for Kansas City to the Super Bowl. I'm sorry, all the Patriots fans and everybody else out there who's going to sit there and tell me I'm wrong. All right, fine. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But Kansas City does go. Just remember, you heard it first by yours truly. So, now that we got the AFC side done, let's go with the NFC, the Lions and Seattle. I'm sorry. I think Seattle is going to win against the Lions. I do think it's going to be somewhat of a football game, and I think there's going to be a chance somewhere in that game where the Lions could win it, but I'm thinking Seattle's got their number. And with that said, let's go to the New York and Green Bay game. My goodness, you're talking about 2 football teams that really have a hot streak going. I mean, look at their records. Look at what they did. The Green Bay Packers, they literally had to win out to get to the playoffs. Look at New York. They went through a heavy streak themselves. Not only that, they beat the Cowboys twice this year. It's going to be a dogfight. If you're sitting there telling me you know who's going to win this match, you're either just a diehard fan of that team or you're just blowing smoke. It could go either way. It can go with the Green Bay Packers staying red hot, and it can go with New York with that stellar defense. Man, I hate to say it, but I think New York has the upper edge. Sorry, Green Bay. I want you to win, and I'm rooting for you. But I'm thinking New York might sketch it out. So that would put Cowboys versus New York in the division. And let me just give you a crazy stat. 2007, the Cowboys went 13-3. They beat the New York Giants. They swept them regular season. When they got to the playoffs, they lost to the Giants. I think this will reverse. I think the Cowboys will finally figure out what's going on, and they're going to beat New York. If you put Green Bay in there, I think it's still a dogfight, but I still think the Cowboys beat Green Bay. I think the Cowboys make it to the NFC Championship game. Now let's go back to Seattle versus Atlanta. I think Atlanta wins hands down. They beat Seattle, but that's as far as I think they go. When you go to the Cowboys versus Atlanta, Cowboys are going to win. I think that Atlanta is good, but I don't think they're great. So right now, the way I'm looking at my picture, I got the Cowboys and Kansas City for the Super Bowl. Now again, I might be extremely wrong, and normally I have somebody else I'm arguing with this, and that's fine. But if I'm right, and the Cowboys and Kansas City makes it to the Super Bowl, I'm promising you right here, it is going to be a fantastic and fun Super Bowl. Now, to be logical, and I am going to go with the logical sense, a lot of people have the Cowboys and the Patriots going to the Super Bowl. And if it is, that will be a fun game too. But I can tell you this right now, I really think if the Patriots go, the Patriots win. There's just way too much. You got Belichick who's been there. You got Brady's who's been there. You have multiple players that have been there and won the Super Bowl. They have the experience. And I think the stack is just way against the Cowboys at that point. It's another reason why I don't want the Patriots to go to the Super Bowl, because I honestly think they would have it hands down. So there you have it. For me, I am picking overtime Cowboys winning the Super Bowl. And that's really going to do it for this week. I hope you had a really fun time. Like I said, I hate the fact that Gary is not here with me tonight. I really do wish him the best. I know I've had a cold. He's got a cold. We just couldn't get together this week because, we're both sick and everything. So prayers for him. Pray for him. Pray for me. Hopefully everything will come back to normal, and we will be talking about the playoffs start or the wild cards next time. And until then, I will see you later.